Hello everyone, Nathaniel here from SuperGameCrashers, and welcome back to our classic Tekkit series. So as you can see, I've built myself a house. It actually took a lot longer than I thought it would, because I wanted the house to look a little bit better. So we have a house, and we have a mine shaft, and yeah, this is the reason why it took so long, because I used wood blocks to make the buildings. I thought it would look a little bit better. I've also built a small wheat farm and a small flax farm and a cactus and obviously a reed farm. Now cactus is very important, reeds are obviously very important. Flax not so much just yet, but they will be when we get into something like buildcraft. We need a lot of wool for buildcraft, and I really do not want to go out of my way all the way into that forest just to get myself some sheep. So what I've done is I'm building a flax area, and when they grow, which they will, we'll have plenty of string for plenty of wool, plenty of food. And I've also cleared out the entire area, covered all the holes, and built an orchard for all of my trees, because I will need wood for building materials. I like building up from wood. I also like building with stone, but wood is good for now, and plenty of rubber trees, because these will be very important. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to show you guys what I've been mining and what I've done. So I've made separate chests for everything. I found a dungeon, so I've made myself a little treasure chest. And in here we've got some string, gunpowder, buckets, which were very useful, a saddle for riding pigs. Horses aren't in this one, unfortunately. Bread, obviously, because I need food. This is, I think it's for computer craft. I never really used this stuff before. I have used computer craft before, but it's a bit complicated. This is for railcraft or Steve's carts, and that's for railcraft and Steve's carts as well, which we will get into because I love the cart system in this mod pack. I think it's fantastic. Over here we have our organics and tools. I haven't really gone into much. I've just basically put all the saplings that I have and spare stuff in here, as well as wheat to make bread, and obviously got some bone meal, blah blah blah. We don't need to know that stuff. This is basic building resources so we can build stuff. I found some clay, which is good because we need that for buildcraft. Marble, cobblestone, and there is a volcano nearby, so I will probably end up getting some basalt as well. And of course our ores. Now this is the bit you guys have been looking for. Loads of ores. I have been down in the mine shaft. I spent a good about an hour, maybe 2 hours getting all these ores, and more than likely we will run out of ores and have to get more, but for now this is a perfect setup. So I'll go through what all the ores are. There are a few different ones, so let's begin. Okay, so we have iron. It seems like a lot. It really isn't. When we get going, we will probably use half a stack before we even get our first machine going. It's used in pretty much everything. Equivalent Exchange uses it. Buildcraft uses it. Industrial Craft uses it. Steve Carts uses it. Pretty much every mod uses iron, so we need quite a lot of it. Gold is very useful in Industrial Craft because we can make gold cables with it, and gold cables are the best way to transfer energy from, say, a generator to a machine, because you have virtually no losses. I'll go into that when we get into Industrial Craft. Coal, we need a lot of coal because we're going to have a coal-fired generator to get us started. We need lots of redstone because they're used in machines. They're also used a lot in buildcraft. Lapis is actually used for once in Industrial Craft for making more advanced machines. Silver is used in buildcraft, so it's very useful in that. You'll literally need loads and loads of silver. We're not going to touch on buildcraft just yet, probably in the next episode, but yeah, it's very useful. Tin, again, very important. We need that for Industrial Craft, but it also has uses in buildcraft and Equivalent Exchange. Copper is very abundant. It's used in making all machines because you need copper wire to make batteries and other such things. And down here we have some gems, which I use to make some swords. Really, the gems at the moment in this mod pack have absolutely no use other than being for tools or for decorative purposes. They don't really do anything, but it's okay to use them because they have They have the long-lasting effect of diamond tools, but they're not as versatile as diamond tools. Such as, I can use these tools to mine pretty much everything except for obsidian. It won't mine obsidian, but it'll last as long as a diamond tool. Nickelite. Now this is what people call false diamonds, because if you go down into the mines and you'll see it, it looks like diamond, but it isn't when you mine it. And it is used primarily, and I think almost exclusively, in Buildcraft for building complex things. Of course, we've got our covalence dust and the pièce de résistance, uranium ore, which is used in Industrial Craft's nuclear reactors. And I am really looking forward to getting into that, because it is very tricky to balance out both using the reactor and keeping it safe, as well as producing enough energy to make it worthwhile. And just some iron, because I needed an iron pick. You probably noticed the tools as well. I've got myself a sapphire sword, so as sharp as, I think it's as sharp as an iron sword, but lasts as long as a diamond sword. Same for all of them. I just used them. And this, you've probably noticed this has been new. This is a sickle. It's used for basically breaking large areas of grass to get more seeds. It's a lot easier and faster than punching it with your hand. So now that we've gone over this, we're actually going to go into industrial craft. So let's get on with it. Yes, indeedy, industrial craft. Now there are a few processes that we have to go through to make this work. First off, I'm going to need some iron. I'm also going to need some tin, because that is going to be it already loaded it for us. Now, there are a few bugs that I've detected in this. Most notably, some of them are duplication errors. Something about certain ways you do things sometimes may result in duplication. If it happens, I will, of course, get rid of the duplicated item and find an alternate means of doing so. There may also be some times where recipes don't work, at which point I will literally have to spawn in an item just because it won't do it. And that's only if I can't find a way around it. Thankfully, we have too many items. I can, of course, adjust it from recipe mode to cheat mode, which will allow me to spawn in items, but I won't be doing that now, because we don't really need anything. I think the next thing we're going to need is some rubber, so I better go find the rubber. Ooh, loads of rubber. Brilliant. I shall build myself some more furnaces, because we are going to need furnaces a lot for now. And we're going to build some of our first machines. I'm sure you guys are probably very curious to know what the machines are. We're going to build ourselves a generator. We're going to build ourselves a macerator, or a macerator if you want to give it its English term. And we're going to build ourselves an extractor. So first things first, we have to build ourselves our generator. Now, to be honest, I don't particularly like using coal-fired generators if I can help it. The reason why I spotted the volcano before is I immediately thought, let's make a geothermal generator because they're a lot more efficient. But obviously, because this is a sort of noob's guide, I'm going to have to do it from basics, so we won't do that just yet. Okay, let them cook. And we've got to find a place where we can put our generators. Let's do it here. So I'll just plop the bed back down there. I'll put the generator here and the machines either side. Right. So 3 copper ingots makes insulated copper cable, or uninsulated. 4 of them, that'll do. 1 up here. Oh, I have not got the redstone. There we go. Okay, so we're going to make our first mod item. Very important. These things can be used on their own or in machines, which is what we're going to use it for. And we're going to be making ourselves a battery. There you are. Batteries. Now, I think batteries only stack up to about 16. So if you want a stack of 64, I think you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 slots if you want a full stack. It's a little bit tedious, but in the end, it's the way we play the game. Okay, so now we've got ourselves a battery. We need the next part of our building process. We need something called, if I can find it, remember what it's called. Basically, we're cooking iron twice, and we get a special kind of iron, and I can't remember off the top of my head, so we'll just wait for the furnace to cook it. Refined iron. There we go. Now, if the achievements were on, it would say getting an upgrade or something. I can't remember what it is, but yeah. We need refined iron. It's very important. The next thing we need is iron. You see how quickly it goes. You really do need a lot of iron to get going. I'd say 2 stacks is an absolute must. And it's raining. Wonderful. And this is the reason why I put a roof on, because I really cannot stand the rain. It annoys me so much. So if you sleep through the night, you just get rid of the rain as well, which is useful if you didn't know that. Okay, let's have a look. Iron ingots. I'm also going to need a furnace, and with this furnace we are going to make ourselves an iron furnace. The reason I'm doing it this way rather than any other way is because if I do it this way, I actually use less iron. I save a little bit. Not much, but I do save a little bit, and in the end that's what we really want when we're getting started. We want to save as much as possible so that when we get on to the bigger and better things, we have something interesting. Now, I can't quite remember the exact recipe for some of the machines, so I may look into NEI. There we are, 1 iron furnace, iron ingots, so we need that. And now, I do believe we can build our first generator, so we need to put an iron furnace down here. 3 refined iron and a battery, and we have a generator. Now there are some things you guys need to know before I place this down. If you want to remove items, you need a wrench, but we can't make a wrench at the moment because we don't have the machine necessary to make the item to make the wrench, the ore that we need to make. We need to make bronze ore, and in order to make bronze ore we need a macerator, and so on and so forth. So when you place your machine for the first time, you want to make sure that it's in a place that you're going to be happy with. I'm happy with it here because I can put a macerator here and an extractor here. So boom, there is our generator. So it's basically the same as a furnace. You put fuel down here and it turns it into something known as EU, or energy units. So if you're playing single player and you're thinking to yourself, this is great, and then you immediately go into, say, multiplayer, and you suddenly find that all your machines are very laggy and they're not producing much energy, it's because of the way these machines operate. Basically, in Minecraft, time is counted with what is called as a tick. So every tick is, say, I think it's about half a second. So generators produce about 14 energy units per tick on single player. This is because of there isn't much lag between you and obviously the machine, so it produces plenty of energy. But when you're on multiplayer, the tick rate is a lot lower, so you might not get the same amount of energy out of a generator that you do in single player. It's just useful information for you to be aware of. So if you do play multiplayer, make sure you go on a server that probably doesn't have like 500 slots, doesn't have many players on it, or is just getting started. Otherwise you'll end up with your machines just struggling along. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be building is a macerator. Now, I can't quite remember the recipe for a macerator, so I'm going to type in Macerator, and we've got 2. This is the second version of a macerator, and what it does is, as long as you supply power to it, it will always be on, compared to the original macerator, which, if you supply power to it and you throw an ore into it, it will take a while for it to chew it up, whereas this would just chew it up straight away, as long as it's got power. But it needs a constant source of power in order for you to do that. I'll get into these things later when we build things like factories and other such stuff. So let's build ourselves a macerator. And for that, we're going to need an electric circuit, a machine block, cobblestone, and flint. So these 2 here are going to be easy. A machine block is basically just 8 refined iron. And an electric circuit is a bit more complicated. It's 2 redstone, 1 refined iron, and 6 copper cables. And this is the reason why you need a lot of resources, because these circuits are in nearly every machine that you will build, especially when you're getting started. So, let's get started, shall we? So, we've already got some iron. I could probably just cook up some more very quickly and get all the bits that we need. Oh, there's some more there. How about that? Fantastic. We're going to need ourselves some more copper, or can we get away with what we've got? I think we can get away with what we got, yeah. We do need more rubber, otherwise we won't get very far. There we go, fantastic. Now the thing is with these cables is that you can actually place them in the real world. Now these cables are actually used for transferring power from generators or devices that generate power to machines. Copper cables themselves, not very good at transferring energy from one machine to the other. Gold is a lot better, as I've said before, and we will be using primarily gold cable when we connect our machines together. The only reason I'm using copper is because it's available now, and I want to put the gold ore through a macerator, because when you put ores through macerators you get twice as much out, which is very useful. Okay, so let's have a look. I need to cook more iron. I need yes. I think my heating just turned itself on then. Right. Ooh, we're gonna need a little bit more, because apparently I need one of these for a circuit. Yeah, there's the glitch. You see, for some reason items will occasionally pop themselves into the furnace. Don't know why. It's annoying. I just have to deal with it. Now then. What am I doing? Oh, yes. We're going to build a circuit. So, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Refined iron. 1 electric circuit. Now, you have no idea how many electric circuits that this mod pack will need. It is ridiculous, the amount of stuff you're expected to have, but when we get going, when we start building proper factories, we won't really have to worry about that. Now I do have some flint, but I think I need 3, so I'm going to get some gravel, and we're going to do the tried and tested method of just breaking loads and loads of gravel with a shovel, or a spade if you want to call it a spade. I call it a shovel. Perhaps I should have prepped this beforehand, but it is a noob's guide, so I'm sure you guys don't mind. There we go. Look, we've even got a spare one. Fantastic. Okay, let's build our macerator. Now, if you press the question mark, what it does is it makes a ghost image on your crafting table. And this is very useful, because if you can't remember the recipe straight off and it's complicated, you can put it down, and that way you've got it as a guide. Very, very useful. 1 macerator. Fantastic. Plop. The next thing we're going to need is an extractor. Now, extractors are used for extracting rubber from sap. So this is obviously sticky resin. And if I put sticky resin into, say, a furnace, I will only get 1 rubber out of it, whereas if I put it in an extractor, I'll get 3. You see how efficient it is to have machines. It's very, very interesting. So we're going to need a tree tap, a machine block, and another electric circuit. So if I do this, oops. Right, that in there. And then that, and there. Okay. Now then, let's build ourselves... No, get down, darling. Sorry, my cat's jumped on the chair. Get down. Silly boo-boo. Okay, so now we're going to build ourselves some tree taps. I'm actually going to build 5 tree taps, because I'm going to need one to get some of the sticky resin out of the trees. So there's all the ones we need for the machine. I need a couple more. Or just 1 more. And yes, you can make an electric version of a tree tap if you really want to. I find that's not really necessary, because eventually we won't even need the trees, because we'll be using equivalent exchange to get most of our resin. Unfortunately, equivalent exchange will not work with rubber or industrial craft items, meaning that we can't just constantly procure lots and lots of rubber. We have to just get the sticky resin and process it ourselves. But I kind of like that myself. I think that's fun. Oh, another thing you may notice later is these machines don't produce any sounds. The reason I've done that is because when we build our big factories, which will be giant rooms, kind of like this one, which will be full of machines, the noise can be pretty unbearable. It's a sort of case of when you go, "Oh, my ears are burning," type of situation. It's not very comfortable. And yes, I am aware I am wasting a little bit of coal. It's nothing too bad to worry about at the moment. So if I tap on this with right click and I've got the tree tap in my hand, I get a sticky situation. I also get more out of the tree than just chopping it down. And like I said before, these trees, they sort of regenerate themselves, so you never really run out of sticky resin. And this is the reason why I've planted so many, because we really do need quite a lot of this resin to make all of our machines. So yeah, and if you just trim them back, it's a lot easier to get to these little holes where you can extract the resin. Look at that, we've already gone down by another day. And your tree taps don't last very long, that is true. Okay, so the next thing we need to build or smelt is some copper. So can I have some copper? Done it again, that's annoying. My cat is banging around the room, having a mad half hour. Okay. Well, we'll sleep through the night because I don't want any mobs to spawn, because if they spawn and they're fairly close to the house, we can't sleep through the night, and then they'll try and break down the door, and it's just annoying, and I'm running out of things to say. Okay. There we go. Now I need some more rubber, so I'm going to need 8 of these, and hopefully this will be the last time we'll actually cook that resin, because we can then just use the extractor, which I'm very, very excited to be using. Can't tell you how useful it is to do that. And yes, we will go through a lot of copper to make this work. My cat is scratching. Hang on a sec. What are you doing? He has her claws are stuck in the toy. Right. Okay. This one. More copper. Now, copper does actually, the ingots have a use. Obviously, they have an EMC value, but they also have a use in buildcraft. So if you're short on, say, silver or tin, copper is a good substitute, so it's useful to have plenty of it around. Excellent. Let's build ourselves our circuit. Let's build ourselves our machine block. And let's build ourselves our device. Where have my Have I put them away? I wonder if they've gone into a furnace when I clicked on it. No. Oh well. Oh no, that was that was for the Macerator, wasn't it? My bad. Sorry, I was thinking about the flint. I completely lost track. Sorry, my bad. That might happen occasionally. I do have a tendency to wonder. There we go, an extractor. And if I just plonk this here. Now, where you have a generator the first time, power will be transferred from any which side, including the back and the top and the bottom. So power will automatically transfer from the generator into these machines. You don't need any cables to begin with. It's a good way to save on resources. So let's power up our generator by sticking some in there. The noise did try to turn on, but it won't be on all the time. our Macerator is receiving power, and it's really simple. If you put, say, a battery, which is fully charged down there, it will also power the Macerator. You put your ores up here, it macerates them and produces what is known as dust, which has an EMC value here. Same thing for the extractor. If you put a battery there, that will power it. You put your sap in here, which we will, and that will now extract it and turn it into rubber. Now, you've probably noticed on the side these 4 slots. Now, these slots are upgrade slots, and what this does is, once we have some upgrades, we can actually make the machines more efficient by putting things in them called power upgrades or speed upgrades. If we put power upgrades in them, that means I can transfer a lot more power into them without worrying about them exploding, which they can do, by the way. If you put too much power into a machine, they'll explode. So you put power upgrades in them to stop them from exploding. The speed upgrade simply makes the machine use more energy to go faster, which is the reason why you put power upgrades in them, so you don't run out. We don't have the machine necessary to actually do that at the moment, so we won't. But what we will do is we will start processing some ores. So let's do that. Now, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to try and process as many ores as I can in between now and the next video, and what I'll do is in the next video we will get something more sustainable going, sustainable energy. We're going to build ourselves some solar panels because they're more efficient and more effective at collecting energy. It also means that our power will never run out until, say, episode 7, give or take. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed this video, or rather I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one, where we will be touching more into Industrial Craft 2, and we'll also go into Buildcraft, because Buildcraft has some also requires a type of energy, but it doesn't share energy with Industrial Craft, so we'll have to touch into that to get it going, so that we're ready to rock and roll with some cool stuff. So, thank you very much for watching, and this is Nathaniel signing off from SuperGameCrashers. See you next time.